All right, everybody, welcome back. This week I have blueberry muffins for you all that I know you're going to love. They're super easy to make. They come together in about 30 minutes, and they're the perfect breakfast or snack that you can take for work or any busy day that you have coming along. I love muffins because they're super easy to make, in my opinion. I think they're fun. I love to bake. I think I like baking more than cooking. And they're also really flavorful and very diverse. You can use tons of different flavor profiles. They're good for breakfast on a morning where you need something just super comforting. And they also make a wonderful snack. So the ingredients are actually very straightforward and slightly healthy, but not perfect. So this is something in between because I've devised these recipes to be enjoyable, but also have a slightly healthy kick. So let's get started with our wet ingredients first. Some flax eggs as a replacement for regular eggs to make these plant-based. We have a 1/4 cup of olive oil. Healthy, unsaturated fat is my favorite way to add fat to baked goods. I'm also adding a 1/4 cup of applesauce. This is homemade applesauce. It has no sugar in it. You can also choose to use store-bought. You can find this super easily in any supermarket in your hometown. We are making a buttermilk at home. Super easy to make plant-based. All you want to do is add a cup's worth of non-dairy milk. It's actually very separated and unappealing to look at the moment, but also a tablespoon of lemon juice that you add to your non-dairy milk, and it will separate it to add a little bit of that acidity that you want in your buttermilk that you regularly would get at the store, but making it super easy at home. You want to also add a teaspoon of vanilla extract to impart that lovely flavor, and I've combined it just with all of my wet ingredients in this wet measuring cup. Okay, and for our dry ingredients, really simple. I have a cup of all-purpose flour because I like the fluffiness of all-purpose flour, a 1/2 cup of whole wheat flour to impart some of that wheat germ, the greater part of the wheat kernel, also extra fiber, and a 1/4 cup of almond flour, homemade almond flour for extra protein and also just a little bit of a health kick. Our rising agents, we have a teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and a teaspoon of cinnamon for flavor, in addition to 1/2 teaspoon's worth of salt. And lastly, our final ingredient, star of the show, blueberries. A 1.5 cups worth of frozen blueberries with a tablespoon of flour. You can use fresh or frozen. If you're using frozen, I like to add a little bit of flour in there because I find that it actually stays and bakes really well, even better in the mixture than without the flour. So this is just a little hack that I like to use. While I've been explaining those ingredients and while you assemble all of these ingredients at home, be sure to preheat your oven to 375 Fahrenheit. I think that's 190 Celsius while you're preparing everything, because then it is like 30 minutes, super easy to get all of your ingredients out and then assemble everything super fast. The hotter the oven is at the start of baking time, the more the muffin will rise. I like to bake my muffins for 5 minutes at 375, and then for the remainder of the baking time, which is 32 to 35 minutes, I lower the heat to 350 Fahrenheit and bake the muffins for the duration of their time at that temperature. And of course, I like to make these muffins in a large baking dish. I love large muffins, and this is just a preference. You can make them in smaller ones if you prefer, but we are doing large ones today, and they're already greased with a little bit of olive oil. That's spray olive oil. You can also choose to use the little muffin molds so you don't have to use any oil.
For our assembly of our muffins, super easy. You're gonna have your flours in a big bowl, add your applesauce, your oil, your flax egg, and all of your wet ingredients, and then combine. It's that simple. I also forgot to add some maple syrup. That's also in this recipe for additional sweetness and also contributes to the wet ingredients. So you're gonna add that in now, not later, like I forgot to add. So that'll be your main sweetener. You can also use a little bit of brown sugar. You can use coconut sugar, but I like maple syrup here because it kind of adds to the consistency and keeps the mixture really nice and fluffy. You want to then add your blueberries with your flour. This will allow the blueberries to not sink to the bottom. I think it just bakes really evenly when you add that extra tablespoon of flour to your blueberries. Add your mixture 3/4 of the way up into your molds. It will use all of the mixture for this recipe. That's why I love making them in bigger muffin tins. I also just prefer a larger muffin in general because I like a pretty big baked good. And once you're ready to go, you're gonna bake your muffins for 5 minutes at 375 to ensure a really nice rise. And then you're gonna lower the heat to 350 Fahrenheit and cook for an additional 32, 35 minutes. Just keep an eye out. You don't wanna overburn these muffins. muffins. They should be golden brown, beautiful, and the blueberries will be sizzling. Let them relax for about 15 to 30 minutes, carve them out with a knife, and then let them chill completely at room temperature on a wire rack.
I really hope all of you enjoyed this recipe. If you like easy, delicious, plant-based recipes that will make your life healthier, but equally as delicious and just a little bit more fun and sustainable, please consider subscribing to this channel, like this video, and comment below an additional muffin recipe that you want to see displayed on my platform. I like to make recipes that are really awesome, consumer-friendly, and also really easy to make. I hope you really enjoyed this blueberry muffin recipe, and I hope you'll stay tuned for my recipe or video next Saturday and for my content that I post every single day. See you next week.